we are not rare. But before you leave, you will perceive the lore will be unlocked. You might be stalked by a Sasquatch or a ghost witch, possibly even a ghost that will boast about knowing the Ohio grassman or even the Michigan dogman. Werewolves hunt, poltergeists are up front, but in these backwoods folklore is unlocked.
Welcome back to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and like always, I'm joined by Ethan.
Yep, hello again, everyone.
And this week, we are taking a look at the Burger Chef murders. And a little background on Burger Chef. It's a former fast food chain that operated between 1954 and 1996 that was eventually sold to Hardee's, and it began in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of the chains, other than this.
Well, to be fair, it kind of did go out of business before we were really around, so.
Well, I know, but sometimes you hear the names of restaurants and stuff like that, even though they are long since gone. So, some
Fair
background.
enough.
Burger Chef was located at 5725 Crawfordville's Road, Speedway, Indiana. And 4 employees were working on November 17th of 1978. There was the assistant manager, Jane Freet, 20, Ruth Ellen Shelton, 17, Daniel Davis, 16, Mark Flemons, 16, and they all disappeared between 11 p.m., which was closing time, and 12 midnight. Brian Kring, 17, was another employee stopped by after a date that led him to taking the night off and led to Flemons picking up the shift to help close at midnight. So he was supposed to be there that night, but he had other plans.
Exactly. And once Kring and his date, who was also an employee at Burger Chef, noticed that Jane's vehicle, a Chevy Vega, was missing, and management reported $581 was reported missing, which is equivalent to a little over $2,800 today, $2,801 to be exact. And police initially thought the money was used to go partying, though the purses and jackets of both Jane and Ruth were both left behind.
The initial police response was that they allowed the restaurant to be cleaned and then reopened the next day. They didn't take any crime scene photos at all, and Buddy Elwanger, an officer working the case, said the police screwed up, which was true.
Yeah, if an officer that was working the case said that the police, screwed up, yeah, the police probably screwed up. And the finding of the bodies, when none of the 4 show up the next day, and the finding of James Vega, which was more or less locked, people grew concerned. And hikers found the bodies on Sunday, November 19th, over 20 miles away in Johnson County, Indiana. And all were still wearing their Burger Chef uniforms, and money and valuables, including watches, were still found on the bodies.
The causes of death for them were both Daniel and Ruth Ellen had been shot multiple times by a .38 caliber gun. Jane had been stabbed twice in the chest, with the blade breaking off, the handle missing. And Mark was determined to have been bludgeoned and dying from choking on his own blood.
Yeah, and the blade that was broke off into Jane's chest was recovered during the autopsy. And a possible description of the suspects: a 16-year-old reported seeing two men outside of the restaurant on the night of the murders. Both men were white and in their 30s. One man was clean shaven with fair hair, so he had either light brown hair or blonde hair, and the other had a beard and had darker hair.
The possible motive was a botched robbery. This is a popular theory due to the fact that Mark Flammonds was covering for Brian Kring, and that perpetrators were not expecting this, which led to what happened. And also, the money was missing, so.
Yeah, the real thing was that Kring was supposed to be working, so the theory, kind of expanding on it here, was that Flammonds knew who the perpetrators were, and they weren't expecting, Mark to be there. So they thought, well, Mark's not supposed to be working, so let's do it on this night. Well, Mark was working, and they thought he'd recognize them, so they wound up doing what happened. And on to our thoughts, honestly, I think due to botches early on in the investigation, even though the police think they know who did it, they don't have the physical evidence to prove that who they believe did it actually did it. So because of, the allowing of the cleaning of the restaurant, no crime scene photographs were taken, and, allowing the restaurant to reopen, kind of destroy any physical evidence that would provide, actual evidence.
Yeah, they really screwed up there.
Yeah, to put it bluntly, they done fucked up.
Yeah, I do think it was probably just a botched robbery since the cash was taken. And also the idea that since Flammonds was there instead of Kring, Flammonds might have known the people. I feel like that's possible. So
with that, I think that's all we've got for this week. Next week we'll be taking a look at the Lizard Man of Scapor Swamp. So stay tuned for that. Any last words, Ethan?
just thanks for watching, everyone.
Well, thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, drop us a like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, drop us a comment and follow, and hopefully a 5-star rating. And we'll see you next week.
You might wake up beside Spearfinger with an extended visit from Jack the Ripper. But if you're lucky, it'll be an angel on that range hill of Louisiana. You might meet Mary Laveau or the Road. At Folklore Unlocked, Austin and Ethan concoct their theory of the eerie and unexplained around the world, sometimes even the underworld. The Lord mankind's secrets, the folklore is meant to be unlocked. The Sokaloo is haunting NC as well as Tennessee. There are many giants that might be clients of the Dark Watchers, who might have psychokinesis. And the phantom time hypothesis is like a phoenix, coming back around again and again. Though is a strain on your brain if you've got more than 2 brain cells in you. Some believe McCartney is dead because they read into the Mandela effect, which is subject